All right, so here we go. This is my rant for this morning. I'm working on a more formal presentation for all this, but let's just try this out. I'm a former teacher. I love to just get up and talk in front of classes. So let's see what you guys can see and what you can't. All right, so previously I would have already established a couple of different things, so let me hit them real quick. So here we go. A growth roller coaster. So growth roller coaster is how a business grows, right? Nobody grows in a straight line or a flat line. It's always up and downs. You grow in fits and starts. Most businesses grow like this. Startup, they establish what's called product market fit, right? I've got a product or a service. People are starting to buy it. I know how to reach them. I know how to distribute it. Life is great. So all of a sudden I start to scale. I start to grow. That's a wonderful thing. And most businesses that succeed more than 18 months get this part right. But then eventually they hit a plateau somewhere between 18 months and 3 years typically. Maybe if you're lucky, you make it 5, but somewhere in here you hit a plateau. You might go up and down a little bit, but you can't get growing. And I say there's 3 options. One, there's always 3, right? It's like a stool. There's always 3 options. So one is you become a commodity. And I've been there. I've been in those industries where it's commoditized and you know what? We can't break out. We're in a plateau and we're just going to sustain that. And so you need managers. You need people who can just manage the status quo. Fantastic. If that's you and you're in that kind of business, more power to you. That's not me, but that's why I left. And again, enough about me. I'll get to that in a minute. So, or you can decline, right? Most small businesses and most businesses that fail, 5 fail in 5 years, 90% fail before their 10th birthday. It's because they plateau and they don't know what to do next. They don't become a commodity, so they just decline and they either exit for a lot less than they were worth, or they shut the doors. They go bankrupt. They try again. Lots of people do that too. If that's you, more power to you. I hope you cashed in here and you got enough to start again. I don't ever want to have to go through that again because starting a business is like jumping off a cliff, trying to assemble a plane on the way down. I've had enough of that. Or third option, ROI. You can reinvent yourself. You can optimize the business. You can liberate resources. You can get more time, money, and energy back so that you can invest in new, innovative products and services that increase customer value. Another conversation for another time. All right, so you get it, right? Here we are, startup, product market fit, grow, plateau. That's probably a lot of you. That's probably a lot of businesses. And then it's decision time. You are at a crossroads. You can decline and go off into the sunset. You can become a commodity and ride that wave, become a manager, or you can do this thing that I'm talking about, that's sustaining growth. Second thing, no heroic effort. Typically what most entrepreneurs have been taught, right, and executives and senior leaders is you get rewarded for being the problem solver. I was that guy, right? You come in, I used to talk about the movie Pulp Fiction, and I think it was Mr. Fox, right? He came in and he was the fixer, and I was that guy. I was super proud to be the fixer. The problem with the fixer is it sucks being the fixer, first of all. You don't get to take long walks on the beach. You don't get to take vacations. You don't get to enjoy downtime. 2, it's not sustainable, right? We're humans. You can't work at that level all the time. And 3, it doesn't scale. Most importantly, it doesn't scale. If you're the one that fixes all the problems, if you're the business owner or the leader, and what you do is fix problems all day long, what you're doing is you're teaching your people to rely on you, and you become the bottleneck. That's why most businesses decline, because the leader or the leaders think they're heroes and they have to solve all the problems. See, I think there's a better way. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Last thing is, so we talked about most businesses fail. We talked about, we didn't talk about most people are disengaged at work. So long running Gallup poll, 70% of people in work report being disengaged. And a surprisingly large amount of those people report being actively disengaged. They're talking around the water cooler. They're sabotaging the organization, whether it's on purpose or not. They're so unhappy that they make other people unhappy, and that's an epidemic. So don't let that happen either. And then, so what about me, right? So I recommend to everybody that you always want to think about what's in it for the person who's trying to sell you something, which at the end of the day is what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to teach you a better way, but in the hopes that eventually you will see enough value in what I do that I can help you do it more efficiently and effectively, and you will pay me money. So what really is in it for me besides the money? See, most businesses fail. Most people are disengaged at work, but I believe when businesses win, people win, and I want to be associated with winners. So if I help you win in the game of business, then I win. That's what's in it for me. And if you understand that, in a nutshell, that's who I am. All right, so let me transition quickly to the board. All right. So again, that's the what about me. I don't believe in hustle. I don't believe in bullshit. I'm not much on small talk. And I don't believe in heroic effort. Hopefully I've proven those three things already by just what you've seen here or previously. What I do believe in is grind and legacy, right? I believe grind is better than hustle. I believe life is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So if you're in it to win it, you're in it for the long term, and you want to avoid that roller coaster. You want to sustain growth, and when you do that, you win. So here's how I say you do that. ROI. Rather than wait, and I got something written down on the board, and I just want to make sure I get this right. So why would you wait for the plateau to grow? Why would you wait a long time? Even if, oh no, Steve, no, I do innovative new products and services. I follow this line. No, I got it. Yeah, okay. Why would you wait here? What are you missing? What are the opportunities that you're missing while you're waiting? Why not be proactive? See, that's my point. That's the point behind ROI. Why not be proactive? Why not build in on purpose, around a purpose, a period of reset, optimization, and investment? Why don't you build in a time to reset the business somewhere in here, right? It's like timing the stock market. I mean, you want to figure out where that point is, right? You don't want to stop pushing the growth, pushing your foot on the pedal to try and get that growth curve. But eventually, if you take your foot off a little bit and you divert some of that energy towards investing in growth, you're going to see an exponential return on investment. And so, okay, Steve, that makes sense. So what does that look like? 7 pieces to reset. I believe you have to have a selfless purpose. Who do you serve? So the point of a business is, first, attract, retain, and grow ideal customers, customers that are willing to pay a premium for your product or service. That's that whole product market fit, and that's that whole startup. That's what startups do. But then 2, when you want to grow and you want to scale, the second problem you need to solve is how to attract, retain, and grow an ideal workforce that knows how to create what those ideal customers value most for the lowest total cost to you. Higher revenue, lower cost, put those two things together, profit to fund your business and sustain growth. Selfless purpose, strong culture, right? That's that second part. How do I attract, retain, and grow an ideal workforce? Standard work. So I've heard Simon Sinek talk, and I love what he has to say, but I'm going to do him one better. I'm going to take that and I'm going to iterate on it. And I'm going to say that the power of why is important. Why you do what you do, very important. What you do, which is standard work standards, right? That's this thing here I'm talking about. Very important too. It's important that you tell your people, here's why we do what we do. It's this selfless purpose. It's this great culture that we want to build and develop. It's how we want to change the world. Here's what we're going to do and why we're going to do it. But the key is going to be how to do it. But you can't figure out how to do what you do better unless you know what it is you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, and why it's important. So that's why it's important to have standards, because once you have standards, people don't have to worry about why. They don't have to worry about what. They can figure out how to do it better. Business model. Sounds captain obvious, but you got to figure out how you're going to monetize that, and that changes over the course of a business life cycle, right? In here, your business strategy, your business model may be different than here, and certainly it's going to be different than it is over here. So you've got to constantly be evaluating the effectiveness and efficiency of your business model. Leadership system. All right, so now I know what I'm gonna do and why I'm gonna do it. Now I got to figure out how am I going to lead the people the most efficiently and effective way so that they all have the same opportunity for growth and we can achieve this shared purpose. Growth strategy should go without saying, but I want to tell you, I believe plans are useless. Planning is priceless. And so we do something in here that I really enjoy a lot, which is called the Growth Hackathon Shark Tank. And the idea is you get your people thinking about how to solve the problems. How will they grow the business? Because here's the thing as a leader. If you think you have the answers and you know how to run the business better than your workforce does, you're wrong. You are so wrong. You're playing the role of the hero. They know how to do what they do better than you do. And if you get that, if you just take one thing away, if you just recognize that, if that's you, recognize that. They know how to do it better than you do. No matter how much you stand up and preach and charismatic you are, or how I've been there, right? You walk in and you see somebody doing something, you tell them how to do it differently, and then you walk away. As an observer, I see this all the time. The boss comes in, says, hey, no, you should be doing it this way. And they walk away, and the person just goes right back to the way they were doing it before. It's because they know that their way is better. It's like water seeks a level. That's how people are. People recognize waste and they try and eliminate it in their work. And if they don't see the value, which is your job to teach them, show them, get them on that same page with that shared purpose. If they don't see the value, they're not going to do it. I promise you. When you walk away, they're going to do it totally differently. So growth strategy, involve them in that activity. Ask them how they would do this thing. We're going to achieve this, right? We're all on the same page. This is our why. These are our goals. You share these goals too? Yes, I do. All right, let's figure out how to do it together. And then scoreboard. If you don't have a visual scoreboard, and I'm not saying revenue, I'm not saying even profit, I'm saying a scoreboard. So the purpose of a scoreboard, think about a scoreboard. If you've ever played any sports, let's take basketball for an example. The key to having a visual scoreboard is so everyone can see if what you're doing is having the impact that you wanted to, right? If people can see that what they're doing isn't moving the needle in the right way soon enough, they can shift resources or they can figure out how to do it differently and better. And so that's the point of having a scoreboard. But just think about it. Let me give you an example. Football. Let's go with football. So football's a team sport. Scoreboard. Why is it there? Is it there to tell you who won? No, not really. Nope. It's there to tell you who's winning, who's losing, and how much time is left. And so as a coach, I'm a former coach, as a coach, I would use that scoreboard and I would look up there, and if it was football, for example, I would look up and I would go, okay, 2 minutes left. We're up by 21. We got the ball. What are we going to do? Are we going to throw the Hail Mary? No. Are we going to pass it all? Probably not. What are we going to do? We're going to run the clock down, right? Flip it around the other way. Shoes on the other foot. We're down by 21. We're at the 2-minute warning. What are we going to do, right? It's a totally different mindset. So that scoreboard is the thing. It's visual. It's got to be out there. It's got to have leading indicators. It's got to have leading indicators basically are telling you if they're predictive. If you hit this leading indicator, if we're up by 21, then we think we're going to win. If we're down by 21, we think we're going to lose and we need to do something differently, right? A leading indicator predicts the eventual outcome. And if you do that soon enough, that period between the leading indicator, that target, that threshold, and the eventual outcome, the end of the game, is long enough, and you get it right, well, then it's easy. You can make those predictions on the way. So the better you get at predicting leading indicators, the better off you're going to be. But the key is you've got to be able to show that so everybody can look at it and go, we're not going to win. Double down. We're going to win. Awesome. What can we do next? All right, so that's reset. Step 1, 7-piece growth strategy framework. And the last thing I want to say on this is the point here is not to do this once. The point here is not to do this perfectly the first time. So if you might be sitting there saying, okay, I'm a small business, right? I'm not a very big business. I don't have a lot of people. So what do I need with a culture deck? Here's what I would tell you. You already have a culture. I'm a solopreneur right now. I already have a culture deck because I already know what my values and beliefs are, and I'm going to use them just to guide my own ship, right? It didn't take me very long. It took me 30 minutes to create one, less than 30 minutes to create one. And I've got a template that I can give you, and you could create one in 5 minutes if you want using that. The point is you build on it. So the first time, maybe it's just you. 10, 15 minutes, there you go. But here's what I'll promise you. I'll promise you that you'll think about your business differently, consciously and subconsciously. It's going to help guide you. Same thing with business model. Remember before I said it's going to change. No, it's going to change. Keep it simple. I've got a template for that too. So hopefully you understand the point here is it's iteration if I didn't make that already. So that's step 1. Step 2, optimize. We're going to optimize the business. How do we optimize the business? The most efficient and effective way? We use our framework. We've got everybody together. We figure out why we're doing what we're doing, right? And now we use that to figure out, over here, to figure out how do we do that better? And when we do that, we're going to get some resources back, time, money, energy, so that we can invest in growth. So what does that look like? Here's another thing that I really want to highlight. This was an epiphany for me. The way that you optimize is 5 steps, okay? You observe, right? I go out and I look to see what's going on the shop floor. Let's take it that way. I observe how the market is reacting. I observe the competition. Are we priced adequately? Yes or no? Then I make a prediction. Hey, I think we could be more efficient or effective by doing this. You don't do that in a vacuum, by the way. You involve the people that are doing the work. We predict that if we do this thing, if we change this thing, then we're going to have this positive outcome, and it's going to look like this. You make it measurable, smart, specific, measurable, actionable, realistic. It's got to be realistic, and time-bound. Those 5 things. Then you make the change, right? You predict before you change. You make the change. You measure the change. What was the impact? Did it have the impact that we intended, right? I'm looking back here. I'm going, we have this prediction. I'm going to measure it. What do we learn from it? That's learn. And then if you got it right, you're done. If you didn't, you keep going. It's iterative, right? We're going to keep it. So now we make an observation. That didn't work the way we thought it would. But we think we can make this change. You make a prediction. You make a change. You keep going in that cycle until you either, I have what I call 4 Ps. You punt. You know what, this just isn't working. We're going to pick the next thing on our list. That's an agile thing. So I'm going to punt. I'm going to pivot. That wasn't quite the way we thought, but we learned something. Now we're going to go back in and we're going to make a change. Proclaim. That's the 3rd one. I proclaim it's good enough. Hey, you know what? We didn't quite hit it, but it's good enough. And the other one is persist. I'm going to keep going because I don't think I gave it enough time. We're not going to make another change. We're just going to keep going until we get more measurable results. So those are the 4 Ps. I'm going to punt. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to proclaim it good enough, or I'm going to persist. I put that last one 4th on purpose because everybody always wants to persist. The problem there is what's called confirmation bias, which is something that you definitely want to avoid. If you don't know what confirmation bias is, look it up. Google, plenty of places to see it. So here was the epiphany though. So that's optimize. That's how I optimize. I use these 5 steps. I figure out how to do what we do better. We liberate time, money, and energy on the way to investing it. The way we invest it, it's almost the same process. I observe. In this case, it's going to be let's say I'm creating a new product or service. All right. Now I am going to observe the market. I'm going to make a prediction about what they value the most. Remember, attract, retain, and grow ideal customers. I'm going to make a prediction about what they value most. And this is what you did if you started a business already. Whether you know it or not, you already did this. You're going to build something. And I'm hoping you're making a prediction before you build. Because if you're just building and you're not getting feedback, that's a bad thing. And I'll bet you didn't if you're watching this video because you've been successful so far. So I observe the market, I make a prediction, I build something, hopefully it's a minimum viable product. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Then I measure the impact. So I go out and I test the market with it. Here, I got this new widget. It's supposed to do X, Y, and Z. I think you have this problem and it will solve it. Do you want to buy it? Learn. I missed my target market. I still think it's the right product or service. I just don't think I marketed it right. So I'm going to persist and I'm going to keep going, right? And it's the same 4 Ps. I'm going to see how I did that with the persist because I'm flipped into business owner mode. So I'm going to punt. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to persist or proclaim a good enough. Yeah, see how I did that? I did that. It's a mental thing. All right. But here was the epiphany. The epiphany was that the only difference between these 2 cycles, observe, predict, change, measure, and learn. Observe, predict, build, measure, learn, is this thing. And it's a skill set thing, right? If I'm a changer, I'm more of an editor. I do the work, and I know how to do the work, and I can help hopefully figure out how to do the work better. I'm a developer, I'm a designer, I'm a salesperson, I'm a back office accountant person, invoicing, whatever that is. I'm going to change the thing that I know how to do in hopes that I can do it better. Here, you've got builders. Now, they may not be the same people, right? See, I believe the managers and the leaders can do both, right? You can have the same managers and leaders over both. And I believe the builders can be the same people. Typically, you want them to be. It depends on your culture and where you are in your growth stage. But that really is the only difference. The system and the processes typically are very similar. It's just that skill set. You've got to shift the mindset. You've got to say, okay, all we're doing here is changing. We're not reinventing anything. We're not inventing anything. We may be reinventing, but we're not inventing anything in Optimize because we want to liberate resources so that we can fully allocate them to inventing new products and services. So let me just go back to this for a second. This is what I want you to avoid, and this is my takeaway for you, hopefully, is startup, product market fit, growth, plateau. Don't wait. When you hit that plateau, eventually over time, you're going to make that shorter and shorter and shorter. I want you to reset, optimize, and invest. And eventually, this is going to actually be more up and to the right. You're going to avoid becoming a commodity because you're always checking the market, right? You're building that in. You're being proactive instead of reactive. You're not waiting for the market to change. Because, by the way, if you don't know this as well, you know this because you're here. Market changes every day, right? We are better connected. We are faster paced. We have more choices as consumers than ever before. Amazon, if Amazon has their way, that's only going to continue to grow forever. And I'm betting on them. So let me wrap up with this. Okay, most businesses fail. Most people are disengaged at work. But when businesses win, people win, and that's really what it's all about. Life is too short to have untapped potential. So I want you to do business on purpose. I want you to get off the roller coaster. I want you to sustain growth without heroic effort so you can enjoy long walks on the beach if that's your thing. And I want you to win. And remember, I want you to win. It's all about me. I want you to win because I want to be associated with winners. And when businesses win, well, win. So that would be a win-win-win. All right. Well, thanks anyway. I hope this was helpful. This is my first iteration, or probably my 10th iteration, but the first time I've actually gone through the whole thing. So I'll be trying to build upon this. Feedback, obviously welcome. If you made it all the way to the end, tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't. If you liked what you heard or you saw, please share, comment, and sign up, subscribe. That would be awesome too. But again, it's that feedback. It's this feedback loop that I'm really looking for. Did this resonate? What didn't resonate? Man, you're crazy. I'll take it all. Don't worry, you won't hurt my feelings. I'm secure. I'm a secure leader. I won't take it too personally, or at least if I do, I'll keep that period of mourning short. So thank you very much for all that you do to help me do what I do better. And until next time, think big, start small, and grow the right way.